the big picture is that we're working towards an agreement, a proper global agreement, stabilising greenhouse gases in the atmosphere at a level that's safe. You could have up to 12,000 delegates, and more than half of those will not be government representatives here for negotiations.
I hereby declare open the third meeting of the ad hoc working group.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, the objective of the Convention requires keeping global warming as far as possible below 2 degrees. The current crawling pace of this process is not acceptable. Thank you.
We need to peak the global emissions as soon as possible. Otherwise, the rate at which we have to slash emissions in the future is going to be too steep to be imaginable, being feasible for the future generations. And so it's key that we just get the turn of emissions right relatively soon. Otherwise, we are going to end up in trouble a couple of years down the road.
What that basically means is that we have to go down very fast. We can't even afford to wait another 10 years until the peak in emissions is reached and we start to have declining emissions, because if we wait for another 10 years, it becomes almost impossible to reduce emissions fast enough to still stay below that 2-degree limit. So the window of opportunity is really closing now. We have very little time left. It's a race against the clock.
It's going to be very hard, very tough now to avoid a 2-degree warming from pre-industrial levels, which many governments would like us to still aim for. So we're in this tough situation where the scientists are starting to say, we don't know whether we can make 2 degrees anymore. And the policy community is saying, well, you better look again because we have to.
We do need the 2 major greenhouse gas emitters both on board, and that's US and China. So that's a pretty big dynamic there, and the world can't do much without those 2 agreeing.
I'm in full support of the footnote to take this forward. We would not be able to take this on in blue without a footnote.
I actually don't want to take the time to go into this here. I'm sorry, I'm going to propose that we park this for the time being.
So this is my final attempt. I put square brackets around everything in the annex. I've never seen this being used before, but I'm trying in order not to let the process collapse. Is that acceptable?
There's certainly a feeling from the developing countries that they're being pushed into commitments by the developed world, and the developed world is probably feeling that the developing countries are trying to get all sorts of guarantees of more financial flows, but not seeing anything of what they're actually prepared to commit to. So there's a long and difficult negotiation ahead with an extraordinarily ambitious end date for 2009.